I run a technology IT strategy software company out of Accra. And I also founded my hobby that now has a life of its own, Women in Tech Africa, which is the largest women technology group on the continent. We're in about 30 countries globally now. We've had events from China to, so anyway. This is where we are. Oh, say I wanted to. So I have a thing. I have a little thing on my website that I let people download, which is Fight Club for African entrepreneurs. So I jigged it up a little for today, which is Fight Club for African digital entrepreneurs. All my content is usually geared towards African tech people. In order for me, and Nick sort of said what's happening in the space, but this is maybe my 5 lessons of what I've just running a business and going across Africa and the lessons that I have learned. So this is how far we've come. So in about 1998 to 2000s, telecom companies really thought, why would we invest heavily in Africa? Africans are poor. They're not going to be able to afford mobile phones. Then between 1998 and 2000, a number of things happened. So African governments realized that liberalizing their airwaves, they could sell it and make a lot of money. So they began to liberalize their airwaves. Nokia made cheap phones, and then the telcos realized that prepaid works in Africa. Those 3 things in a number of years took Africa from where we are to, for where we were, where there's a stat there about sort of Safaricom thinking they were going to have something like 500,000 subscribers by 2013. This was early 1990s. They were thinking, by 2013, we're going to have something like 500,000. And now looking at the numbers that they have, that's not showing very well. And they announced, something like 19 million. That was at that time. So just look at just that journey. I always use this as an example of when people say, well, Africans are poor, or Africa is not, tech, Africa, well, really? This is always an example. I always say, poor Africans couldn't afford mobile phones. We're a mobile-first, mobile-only continent at the moment. Right. Here's my maybe only controversial thing. Stop listening to Silicon Valley. For those of you that want to come home and build tech companies, listen to the people that have actually done it on the continent and people who understand what it is to scale and build a company in Africa. A lot of the advice that's you get on, I'm not saying don't take their advice, but I'm saying a lot of the advice that we get from sort of the Stanfords and the Silicon Valley type entrepreneurs is based on the fact that I can get, 1 million funding straight out of Stanford and the planning around that. That doesn't work in Africa because I know businesses that run 10, 12 years to be able to get $1 million in funding. It's better now. But we're in an environment where scaling and culture is very different. I'm saying listen to the people that have done it on the continent. If you're looking to come to the continent, watch and listen to the people that have done it versus we're just going to transplant all this Silicon Valley sort of learning. Africans have been entrepreneurs for years. We just got to be better at scale. That's my take on it anyway. So that's rule number 1. I think this has been said the whole day, right? So by 2050, 40% of the world's workforce will be in Africa. So if you're building a company, you've got to be thinking about this number. 40% of the world's workforce is going to be in Africa or of the world's workforce. Yesterday someone said they might be moving out of Africa, but 40% of the world's workforce either will be in Africa or will be of African descent. It's a huge challenge and opportunity. So rule number 2, if you're building anything, you've got to look at these numbers and think about these numbers. Everyone likes to sell to us. So I do IT strategy and I build software out of Africa. But every time I go to a conference and I say, I build software in Africa, there's always this interesting sort of look on people's faces. Oh, and then the conversation becomes, oh, but can you partner with us so that you become a reseller for us on the continent? I'm having this conversation constantly. IBM, Oracle, SAP. And a lot of people have made a lot of money just reselling other people's innovation in Africa. Now, I don't have an answer to this, but this is something to think about when you're building in the Africa space, is that they would rather that we partner and sell on the continent versus we sell on the other way. This is just, I suppose, something to think about. WhatsApp is probably king of video distribution on the continent. So 5 random facts that I've learned over time. My housekeeper spends about 40% of her income on mobile. It upsets me, but she does. She knows how to watch all the latest Nigerian movies and clips on WhatsApp. She doesn't know about YouTube. But she knows that they can WhatsApp, and she doesn't think about it as internet. If somebody has sent her a video, it's funny, she's watching it. It's a large, and I keep asking, I keep praying that WhatsApp will open up and give us APIs, because I will build marketing tools on WhatsApp and sell, because there's a lot of video content. A lot of video content in Africa has been distributed through WhatsApp. We don't have the numbers, but we see it anecdotally all around us. And adding to that, mobile is the distribution channel, but don't think apps. Think SMS. I know that's hard. Think USSD. Because now you can reach a larger number of people just by *700#. A lot of complexity. You can put a lot of complexity behind it and distribute content simply, right? So we're not saying don't build complex things. There's a lot of complexity. You can put a lot of complexity behind it, but distribute in simplest ways. And rule 5. In Africa, digital activism actually pays quite a bit. These are just 5 examples. Odikro is an amazing platform in Ghana that leverages everything that happens in Parliament in Ghana. Everything. So from who said what, who sneezed, who voted on what. There's a lot of data, and then they then share it really simply via mobile. So you know what's happening in Parliament. They're heavily funded. And there's budgets for the Nigerians. I think I don't know, the name is not a budget. For the Nigerians here know budget, right? Yeah, so budget is also in Ghana now, and they literally track the budget of the country, right? So you go to this place where, again, complex computation, really simple presentation, right? So what's the government budgeted, and how's the government spending to the budget? And I think the Omedia gave them about 5 million, something like that. Digital activism in Africa pays. And so if you're building businesses, it's a fun random fact. Think about government and keeping government accountable. And annoying government and making money from it. There's, the Ghanaians here will know about Doomsaw. Yes, we went through years of electricity. And imagine, that's why my first slide about Silicon Valley. Imagine that I'm building software in a country where the lights are off. Okay, the lights are off 70–80% of the time, and this is for a 3-year stretch. Right, so we love Silicon Valley, but and let's bring back our girls, and Ushaidi is the very, very big one. So anyway, I think I'm done. These are really, really random, very random, my 5 sort of